Live from MMA Fighting Studios, this is Between the Links. And now, your host, Mike Heck.
The iconic voice of Esterlin welcomes you to a brand new edition of BTL. Happy Thursday to all of us. Happy trails to Dustin Poirier. And ladies and gentlemen, you've been asking about it for the last few weeks. Where are the classic BTL bouts? Well, they are back today. We have some MMA fighting, infighting on the program. We have a lot to talk about. UFC 318 is in the books. We have several title fights that are on the books now. The UFC is back in beautiful Abu Dhabi this weekend and a whole lot more. So let us introduce the crew for this matchup. First, it's great to have this man back on the program. The Brazilian beast himself from MMAfighting.com, the one and only Guilherme Cruz. Gui, my brother, how are you, sir?
I'm back and doing fine. Thank you very much for having me on this spectacular show. I'm very honored to be here because that means my opponent is getting a win, and he desperately needs one. So I'm happy to be here.
Yes, the aforementioned opponent is the Prince of Positivity himself. He is one half of the On to the Next One Matchmaking Kings, and he's my best friend, also from MMAfighting.com, Alexander K. Lee. AK, welcome back. What is happening here? And it is your fault.
It is I.
To the show.
It is I, MMA Fighting's #1 Botafogo fan, guys. The number one football club in South America. Someone has to fly this flag, and if it's got to be me, I'm proud to do it. Listen, they won. Oh, whoa, what's going on? What's going on? How's this happen? Wow, what a coincidence! Gui, are you?
Come on.
Are you also a fan of Botafogo?
Yeah. Are you?
Oh, I was not. I also love Botafogo. Oh, wow. I had never. What are the chances? No.
This is beautiful.
Guy sent me this beautiful flag to celebrate their historic treble last season. So shout out to Botafogo, the #1 team. I'm a Celtic guy. I love me some Tottenham Hotspur. We're talking about the #1 team in South America. Botafogo all the way, Botafogo. Yes. So thank you for that. I'm happy to be back, guys. I'm happy to be back. I'm excited. I'm so happy it's Guy that I get to share the show with. So I think that's all that needs to be said. I mean, I see some people commenting. Am I supposed to bring this up now, guys?
I mean, we could talk about it. It's obviously big news. Hulk Hogan, AK, has passed away at the age of 71, I believe. It's being reported as cardiac arrest, and I think everyone sort of has an up and down relationship with how they view Hulk Hogan. If you were a wrestling fan in the 80s and 90s, you were obviously very familiar with Hulk Hogan in the ring. If you continued following Hulk Hogan's career after that, not the best stuff, if we're being honest, but if we're talking about what he meant to the world of pro wrestling, AK, he's a Mount Rushmore kind of a guy, is he not? I mean, drawing power, superstardom, and you can make a strong case that if without Hulk Hogan, WWE is certainly not the position they are in right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just worth bringing up on the show when you think about his influence on, like you said, WWE, which of course influences all the other combat sports promotions, influences UFC. I know people hate to admit it, but there's such a strong connection between professional wrestling and MMA. That's just how it is. And of course, not just WWE, but I mean, obviously Japanese promotions have a huge influence on MMA and all that. But yeah, Hulk Hogan dead at the age of 71, TMZ reporting it as a cardiac arrest. And, listen, thoughts and prayers to him and his family. It's impossible not to bring up, the success, the massive box office success that he brought, the fact that he's been a mainstream figure for the better part of the last 40-something years. Like, it's crazy. Again, I imagine a lot of us who became, legitimate combat sports fans, probably as children, we were watching professional wrestling. To this day, I think a lot of us still watch professional wrestling, but Hulk Hogan was a big part of that. So I know there's a lot of fans out there. So of course, if you guys are feeling some type of way about the Hulkster being gone, totally understand. As Mike kind of alluded to, his legacy is very complicated. If you guys have ever dug into anything about Hulk Hogan's background, or even are aware of the 2015 incident involving him making some truly disgusting racist comments, then yeah, you might not be, you might not exactly be torn up. But in this moment, we'll just say we can celebrate what he did in the ring. We can celebrate what he did for fans. If there are fans out there, who are inspired by his career, then that's great. So, but we have to touch upon it just because, again, if we're talking pro wrestling, if we're talking MMA, if we're talking about combat sports, it's hard to ignore the existence and the history and the influence of Hulk Hogan. But other than that, I would tell people, form your own opinions about it. But there you go. Hulkster's gone.
Yeah, Hulk made an appearance at UFC Tampa about 7 months ago. He walked Colby Covington to the hallowed octagon for his stoppage loss to Joaquin Buckley. Had a hard time walking. It was kind of weird to actually see and be right next to it as they were both walking to the octagon. But Guy, any thoughts on the passing of Hulk Hogan?
I'm not a huge pro wrestling person. In Brazil, it's not such a big thing. When I was a kid, I used to play video games, and there was this WWE game. I think I have no idea. Don't really know the name, and I remember his figure because like the mustache and all that. But the big thing that made, I knew Hulk Hogan because of this movie that he did. It has nothing to do with WWE. He was, I think, he was a nanny or something like that. That's the big thing that comes to my head when I think about Hulk Hogan. This is an any match. I don't think I have watched a single match in WWE ever, but but the image I get is one of those movies that he did that I used to get on TV.
That's Mr. Nanny. That's Mr. Nanny to you, Mr. Cruz. Okay, Mr.
Yes.
Nanny. Yes, illustrious Hollywood career of Hulk Hogan. Yeah.
Oh,
that's he's known for that for me. That's why I know him.
Yes, let's not forget the critically acclaimed No Holds Barred. I can't believe he didn't win Best Actor awards for his performance in Suburban Commando. An Emmy should have been awarded for his role in Thunder in Paradise, which is actually a show that I watched weekly after WCW Saturday Night back in the day. But yeah, what a run for the Hulkster.
Movie legend,
yeah, movie legend, wrestling icon. Complicated past, but RIP to the immortal Hulk Hogan, who passed away at the age of 71. So hard to transition from that, but let us, gentlemen, put a bow on UFC 318. It went down this past Saturday in New Orleans. It was a emotional roller coaster ride of an event, but it was all about Dustin Poirier, his career, what he gave to the sport of mixed martial arts, and his final fight. And unfortunately, it was not a fairy tale ending for Dustin Poirier. He loses a decision to Max Holloway in the main event in front of his home crowd for the BMF title, and then officially lays down the gloves in the center of the cage. So Guilherme, let us begin with you. Your reaction to how the UFC handled this final fight for Dustin Poirier and what it meant in the overall landscape of MMA retirements.
The UFC did an A+ job. It was an incredible job of how you should treat a legend walking away from the sport. We have seen so many fighters just fade away and not get the recognition that they deserve, not get this parade, this tribute. Why they are still there in the UFC, getting a fight that makes sense, not being thrown to the wolves against nobody, to serve as a stepping stone. So it was glad to see Dustin get that. It was very emotional all week, and it was the right fight. And I think he walks away as the BMF. He doesn't need the belt to be a BMF. He's an incredible fighter. He's a legend. He's fought everyone, beaten most of them. So it was nice to see the UFC finally do a good job. Something they should have done to a lot of other fighters that had walked away before him, but at least Dustin got his chance to walk away, to feel that as a fighter, and not just like watch on the big screen the highlights 6 months away after he retires, losing to a 20-year-old lightweight. So it was good to see. Hats off to UFC and hats off to Dustin for a legendary career.
We'll dive into some of his career moments and his legacy in a moment. But AK, just reflecting back 5 days ago, And even beyond that, just what this card meant, how it was built up and all of that. Your reaction to how the UFC handled this retirement and how it stacks up against other MMA retirements.
I hope going forward this becomes, if not a regular thing, at least a normal thing when people deserve it. This past weekend, when we were sort of talking about the event afterwards, even before, I think we kind of call Poirier one of like the 4 horsemen of the UFC's lightweight, like thriller division. You know what I mean? He's inextricably tied, of course, with Max Holloway, the man who just defeated him in his final fight, and Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira. Those guys have all fought each other. They've all been on countless main cards, pay-per-view cards, championship fights, and they have 9,000 post-fight bonuses between them. Like when you think of the UFC over the past 15 years or so, it's hard not to think, like, picture Poirier's face. It's hard not to picture Gaethje's face and Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway. So for guys like this, like, I hope the UFC gets a little more willing to headline shows with these kinds of special attractions. Now, I know that this was still technically a title fight. Like, the UFC can still say, hey, we almost always have title fights at the top. There was the BMF belt on the line, but it's so silly. It didn't need it. It makes no difference. I can't imagine, even to their bottom line, that there's more than 50 people who said, yeah, the BMF title's on the line. I've got to get this now. I wasn't interested in just Holloway versus Poirier. Sorry, guys. Am I coming in a little choppy?
But I can hear you.
We can hear you fine.
Darn it.
Oh, do we lose them all together?
Yeah.
Are you with us?
Hello?
I think we're all
I
a
don't
little
know.
choppy right now, but I can
guys
hear you.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Okay, you are
guys
the
hear me?
only
Okay.
one that's choppy. You are the only one. Everyone else
Okay.
is wonderful.
It is me. You know.
I think it's you. Your internet's fine. It's like it's literally
you still?
You're choppy.
Oh, it's just me physically. Yeah. It's not an internet issue.
Sorry. Yeah, I know.
Okay. Sorry. I will try and sum up what I was saying. I'm sure I got broken up. But yeah, I'm hoping the UFC going forward makes this more common. Like, do it for Charles Oliveira in the future. Do it for Max Holloway. I mean, you got to do it for Max Holloway someday. Do it for Justin Gaethje someday. Gaethje himself has admitted, I know I'm not viewed in this with the same loving. The same loving eyes that fans have for Poirier, but that's okay. He's still such an important part of this era. And I want the UFC to get away from saying we have to have title fights at the top, because yes, the BMF title was on the line at UFC 318. Nobody cared. It didn't make a difference to the quality of the card, the quality of the fight, the pay-per-view buys. I'm sure it didn't make a difference. No one was seeing, now the BMF title's on the line. Now I definitely got to buy it. It was about the Poirier storyline. It was about his round with Max Holloway. I'm trying to think of the last time the UFC had a non-title fight in the main event. It must have been Colby and Jorge, will be my guess. I can't remember if there's been one since. And that's okay. That's okay. Oh, gosh. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I don't know what's going on. We always say the UFC is playing with house money, right? So I don't know why they're so insistent on, we have to have one or two title fights at the top of every card. I just think it's so crazy. You have the power now where you can have pay-per-views that are just headlined by stars, established stars like Poirier and Holloway, and more importantly, that will sell out the arena. Isn't that what you're trying to do, guys? Is sell out arenas? Of course, you have pay-per-views and all that, but we know how rock solid their TV deal is. So selling out arenas is still the most important thing. And if you had an event, a pay-per-view headlined by Justin Gaethje's retirement fight in Colorado, you'll sell out. It'll sell out. So yes, as much as I want to talk about Poirier's legacy and how great it was, and we've kind of did a lot of that last week, looking ahead, I hope this was proof of concept for the UFC, that you can have these amazing, amazing moments if you just put a bit of effort into it, because the video package they did was awesome. The fight was great. And even him losing, it doesn't matter. If anything, it was kind of a nice way for him to go out essentially on his shield. I know he didn't get KO'd, but to pass the torch, as it were, to one of his contemporaries who probably has 3 or 4 years left in the business himself. I don't know. I mean, Max is relatively young. So good job by the UFC. Keep it up. That's my takeaway from UFC 318. Please keep it up. Let's give us more of that.
I love it. And one of my biggest takeaways of all of this is, if we're going to do retirement tour fights, I feel like 98% of them come from the lightweight division, which is always a great time.
Yeah.
You could do it for Max, you could do it for Oliveira. You could do it for Gaethje if you wanted to. There's just so many ways you could go about this. And so I wanted to ask
And
you, AK. Yeah, please.
women's bantamweight as well.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Of course. The Mayra Bueno Silva retirement fight will absolutely be the main event of UFC 329 sometime in 2026. But AK, kind of going back to what the card meant and the significance of it. What is Dustin Poirier's legacy, AK? Like 10, 15, 20 years from now, when somebody asks you, hey, Grandpa AK, tell me about Dustin Poirier and what he meant to mixed martial arts. What will you say?
One of the most exciting and most resilient fighters of his era. I mean, that would be my one sentence if I had to sum it up. He's a guy who, like, you need guys like him, right? We love the dominant champions, Khabib and John Jones and Conor McGregor where he's going up. We love guy Alex Pereira, his recent run. We love that aura of invincibility, right? We love those guys who are like, oh, every time they go in there, they're just gonna beat the whatever. I was gonna say something bad out of their opponents. Anderson Silva during his prime was invincible. You need those guys too, of course. Those are your stars. George St. Pierre. You need your stars, but we have guys who are the backbone of the company who are like maybe just a little more relatable, because who among us has not been knocked down, has not always had the best day at work, has not always felt like we are moving forward, has suffered tough losses, whatever that may be, whether it be personal, professional. And that is the story of Dustin Poirier, because, yeah, look, he fell short of becoming undisputed champion several times. He won the interim title. It was a great moment, paid in full, as he loves to say. But there was no point where we would say, well, Dustin Poirier was the number one lightweight in the world. You could argue there's a point he wasn't even number two. Like maybe he peaked at being the number 3 best guy in the world. But there's no shame in that. I have said for years that belts are props. And that includes the interim title he won, right? Even the interim title one. It was a prop. It was a prop that meant something to him and meant something to his fans. It meant something to a lot of people. And that's the case with titles in general. But titles should not be the end-all, be-all of a fighter's legacy. If Poirier had never won the interim title, would it diminish his contributions to the business that much? I think that's crazy. I think we all have eyeballs, guys. We all saw these classic fights. We saw the fight with Korean Zombie. We saw the 2 fights with Poirier. We saw the fight with Eddie Alvarez. Sorry, I just Gaethje. I didn't say Poirier before. We saw the fight with Anthony Pettis. We've seen all these amazing moments. Nothing takes these moments away because, but when you add it all up, was he a top 5 guy? Did he ever win? It doesn't matter, guys. What matters is the moments, these individual moments that he had. Sorry, I know I'm breaking up a little bit again. I'm gonna pause here.
We can hear you, okay?
I don't know what's going on with my internet today.
What's happening right now?
Sorry, guys. This is such a huge fail on my part.
Okay. Guy, what about... It's okay. Guillermo, what
ahead,
about you,
Guy.
buddy? What's... If someone your young child comes up to you and becomes a huge fan of MMA and wants to learn about Dustin Poirier, Guy, what are you telling them?
I would say that Dustin... I'm just joking. I'm not okay. I have good internet.
Too soon. Too soon, Guy. Too soon.
Sorry, okay, I love you. I mean, Dustin he's one of those fighters that like AK said, he doesn't need belts. He just pure action. You're gonna tune in to watch him regardless of who he's fighting, of where he's fighting. He could be like doing the prelims of UFC Uberlândia, UFC Saskatoon, or whatever that is. You are always gonna watch because he's gonna deliver and on top of everything, of all this, his abilities as a fighter, as an athlete, of the human being he is. We are used to see a lot of douchebags fighting in MMA, and the ones like Dustin are one of the nice guys. So it's good it was always good to have him around as a role model for fighters, for fans, especially young ones. So it's a fun story because my wife doesn't really watch that much anymore. She used to hang out with me to watch the UFC when I was started working, and she only followed one fighter ever on Instagram. It was Dustin, because of his social work and all that. So she became a fan of him, and I think a lot of people became fans of him because of the fighter he is, and also on top of that, everything for the human being that he is. So he's gonna be missed. I'm sure he's gonna be around of the sport forever, but yeah, he'll be missed as a fighter, getting the cage and entertaining us as he did for so many years.
And now, Guy, on the flip side, Max Holloway has now won 2 straight at 155 pounds. Of course, he has one of the more memorable knockouts in the history of the sport against Justin Gaethje. And then this one over Dustin Poirier. He's now the first man to defend the BMF title successfully, just making history all the way around, Guy. After watching this fight and performance, what is Max Holloway's ceiling at 155 pounds, and what should be next for him?
I mean, it's impossible to say that he can beat Ilia Topuria. I mean, he's incredible. His fight was sad to watch, him getting knocked out by Topuria, but he was fighting at 145, and he clearly has no business going there anymore at his age, doing that cut. I mean, his cut to 155 is already looking miserable. So I think he should just stay at lightweight. And I think if UFC gives him a title shot, he can win the belt. And it wouldn't be insane to get him that fight. I don't think UFC is going to do that because Paddy is out there, and it's a big money fight for Topuria to win and become such a bigger star. And but I think Max is going to fight for the title next year. I think UFC is probably going to give him Charles Oliveira. He's going to win, and he's going to fight for the title next year, and maybe win. This man is incredible. I'm never doubting Max Holloway ever, and the way he's fighting now at lightweight, especially, it's incredible. It's insane to watch.
AK, are you as high here on the ceiling of Max Holloway at 155? Potential champion, a guy who could be champ sometime next year. Can you see that as well?
I mean, could be champ. I just don't know if I pick him to beat Topuria, but to get that fight, oh yeah, it feels like we're really heading in that direction. Especially if it goes as we've been discussing. Like, it feels right that we should finally get the proper matchup with Charles Oliveira. And if he beats Charles, I don't see how who would complain about him getting another shot at Ilia. I think if you gave him Ilia right now, like if you made him Ilia's first lightweight title defense, you'd get a lot of pushback. Even as good as he looked at 318. And as much as we enjoyed that whole show, you'd get some pushback. Max is universally beloved. Like, no one would blame him, but you would have some people questioning the UFC. Like, gosh, is this really the right moment? Like, even people who, like, obviously love Max Holloway more than Paddy Pimblett. There's a lot more intrigue in that Paddy Pimblett fight right now, isn't there? Like, don't you have to do that first? The UFC doesn't have to do anything, but doesn't it feel like that makes so much more sense? So Max is in a great position here. There's a lot of big fights for him ahead at 155. I totally agree that, not that he looks like a different fighter, but for someone who's done everything that you can do at featherweight and has made that weight cut so many times, and I don't think it was ever easy for him, it does feel like a fresh start. A fresh start for a final run for a guy who is 33 years old. He'll be 34 by the end of the year, and is a bit older in fight years. But this is the right way to do it. Like, this is the right way to go. We sometimes see people go the opposite way and go to a lower weight class, and that could work for them. But for Max, I think 155. We've been talking about this for some time, and yes, I will actually be surprised if he is not fighting for the undisputed title. Maybe not in 2026, but I will say if he doesn't get a crack at that undisputed lightweight title before the end of his career, or within the next 2 years, maybe a little narrow it down a bit, I will be surprised at this point. He's got the momentum, and he still has the skills.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of ways we can go with this. Lightweight rocks, and worst case scenario, guys, we have 2 lightweights defending titles. Like, it doesn't get better than this. You get Ilia defending one, Max defending the other. Lightweight's the best division in the sport, and if we could have more lightweight 5-rounders, it's never a bad thing. So let's move on from the best division in the sport, arguably, to a couple of the worst, but some big announcements nonetheless. The point for round number 1 goes to Guy. I mean, better internet quality is always
but why?
going to win.
Yes.
But why? What happened?
Yes.
What did I miss? What did I miss? I'm
You
not gonna
just
lie.
froze again. Sorry.
I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't
missed
here.
it.
I wasn't here for a lot of this discussion, but I must have been good. I guess I missed quite a bit of it.
You did. But guys, UFC 318 is officially in the past and a couple days removed from the event. Dana White hops on Instagram and announces some big pieces for the future, some big pieces for the month of October. And we're going to start with UFC 320, October 4th, T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada. The main event is the rematch for the light heavyweight title, Magomed Ankalaev versus the former two-division champion Alex Pereira. Same arena, same city as their fight in March. Co-main event, Merab Dvalishvili defending the bantamweight title against Cory Sandhagen. Plus, we get Jiri Prochazka versus Khalil Rountree. AK, how are we rating the top 3 fights of UFC 320?
I mean, at least like 9 out of 10. I love these fights. We were saying, Mike, this kind of actually helps us put a little bit of a bow on our UFC 318 discussion, because a lot of it was not like, is UFC 318 a great card? It was, is UFC 318 the main card worth $80? That was like kind of the more relevant discussion. And I think even afterwards, we still kind of not, even though the card turned out fine, especially if you're on a budget. If you're only buying half of the UFC pay-per-views every year, that one probably didn't make the cut. Now we look at the 320. I think this is why. I think you see cards like 320. 321 is still building. I know we'll talk about that later. But you got 2 title fights on 320. You have an awesome matchup that we weren't sure we were going to get with Prochazka and Rountree. We all wanted it, but we were like, is this like, are they going to book this? Boom, you laid that one down. That's such an amazing fight. Again, if you weren't necessarily having to sell to casuals, like for me, Prochazka Rountree is almost like worthy of a pay-per-view main, but maybe I've diluted the mania pay-per-view main quite a bit. That's a great fight. Then you get to Cory Sandhagen finally getting his shot. He's the last remaining guy that Merab has to go through, right? Like, people can poke holes in Cory's resume, and certainly he has fallen short against some of the best fighters. I understand, but he's looked great. I think few would argue that he has been in there, like competitive with like the Piotr Jans, with the Umar Nurmagomedov. So yeah, he didn't beat them, but it always felt like he was going to get his shot. And now it's time. The numbers game has worked out for him. The timing's worked out for him. I think he's a plucky underdog. I haven't seen the odds yet. I'm sure they came out. I'm sure they've already come out, and I'm sure they're not in Cory's favor. But I'm really excited with that fight. And then Ankalaev, Pereira 2. Okay, mileage may vary. Maybe after that first fight, people weren't exactly clamoring for a rematch. But considering everything Alex Pereira has done, I think, and how rematches have been handed out to less deserving champions in the past, it would have been very surprising if Poatan like had not let the UFC know that he was open to it, and they didn't give it to him. So that's pretty much what happened here. You've got yourself a very worthy headliner, and I would think one of the 6 or 7 pay-per-views that people would plan to buy in 2025.
Guy, AK, very, very high on these top 3 fights. What say you? We got Ankalaev Pereira. We got Merab versus Sandhagen. We got Jiri versus Khalil. Some other fights. The MVP of our fantasy league, soon to be Atiba Gauthier, is back on that card against Ozzy Diaz. There's just a lot to like here.
Yes, we got Macy against Yana Santos. I hope the UFC puts that on main card, because it's incredible. Women's bantamweight is striving. But yeah, I'm high on this card as well. It's the Poatan Ankalaev rematch. It's not one people were dying to see, because the first fight wasn't that good, but the trash talk, especially all the tweets from I'm sure Ankalaev tweeting at Pereira, got us interested in this fight. Of course, we are curious to see how Pereira does. He didn't give away any excuses for his performance, but it really sounded like something was off. In the end, it could turn out another 25 boring fight. And Merab and Cody is an incredible matchup that maybe could be like not that great. A lot of takedowns and all that for the fans that like to see just stand-up brawls. But yeah, Khalil and Prochazka is gonna be incredible, and there's no denying that. Just jinx it, maybe. But yeah, it's 8.5 out of 10. I would give. I would be just below AK, but yeah, I'm really looking forward for this one.
Am I in the minority of people who like enjoyed the first Ankalaev Pereira fight? I'll never watch it
Yeah,
again. I'll never watch it
yeah.
again. Don't get me wrong. That's not coming on at the Lee household anytime soon. But I like in the moment was pretty engaged with the fight. I guess it's easy to say because a lot of us were still like even in the fourth and fifth round, we're kind of like, oh, Botan, here he comes. Here he comes. He's gonna land something, and he just never did. But to me, that was like fascinating to watch.
That
I
doesn't
still
make a fight a good one.
good
Like,
may have been the
okay,
wrong
okay,
word.
it's gonna
This
come,
is
it's
true.
gonna come, and never does.
I didn't say
It's
good.
gonna
I
be
didn't
a
say
good
good.
fight.
I enjoyed it, but I've also been enjoying the career of Torres Finney. So
Have you
put
enjoyed
that put that
Ngannou
in
and Derek
perspective.
Lewis? Did you enjoy
I
that?
That's like one of my top five most enjoyed. I enjoyed that. Ben Askren and Damian Maia was a classic. I'm a sick man. Okay, we know this. I'm a sicko. So I have a
Shevchenko and Liz
skewed.
Carmouche. I bet you
I have
love
a
that too.
skewed. I have a skewed perspective of what is enjoyable. But what I mean is like I really want to see them fight again because I did think like I really thought Ankalaev did a fantastic job in this fight. I just don't think he gets enough credit for how he diffused Pereira, and not in the way people expected. I think a lot of people thought, oh, he'll take him down. That's how he'll beat him. But I've told people if you can bear it and to watch that fight again and watch like Ankalaev's footwork and his distance control and all that stuff, like I found it very engaging. Again, I probably would not watch the fight again. I certainly wouldn't tell someone who's not an MMA fan to watch the fight, but I enjoyed it enough that I did want to see it one more time, even if it turns out the same way. I'm a sicko.
Uh, I'm not saying it was a bad performance by Ankalaev. Far from that. It was a great performance. It was an incredible game plan. But it wasn't just wasn't a good fight. It happens. He won. Hats off to him, but it wasn't a fun fight or any of that. The fact that you wouldn't watch that, you wouldn't recommend it to anyone, says that the fight isn't good. It was
Yeah.
intriguing, let's say, but it wasn't good fight.
And unfortunately, Ankalaev's already been painted with the Dana White, this guy's not fun brush. He got painted with that after the Jan Blachowicz fight, which is far more thrilling than this Pereira fight, if we're being honest. It was a lot more intriguing. There were some different swings to it. But here's what makes this fight kind of interesting, Guy, is what it means for both guys, because obviously the belt is on the line. But I'm curious, in your opinion, Guy, what else is at stake here for these guys? Because Pereira could go 0 for 2 against Ankalaev. That could be very tough scenes, no matter how popular he is. Ankalaev is the champ. He's probably the best 205er in the world, but it doesn't seem like he's the most popular fighter to the UFC brass and certainly to a lot of the fan base because of the way Dana has sort of portrayed him as a not exciting fighter. So he could be in that position that like Merab was in a while ago or Bilal was in a while ago before he had that thrilling fight with JDM where, hey, if he loses, he might not get another shot. They might just move on real quick. So what else is at stake for these two fighters, in your opinion, besides the gold?
There's a lot of stakes at stake. I think if even Kalev loses, I think he's screwed because the UFC waited like forever to finally give him a title shot, and when they did, it sucked against Blachowicz. And then again, he had to fight a lot of fights to get his chance, and then he won. But he's not a big star. He's not a flashy style and all that. So if he loses, he's gonna have to win like I would say like 5 in a row. But this division is so shallow that maybe 2 or 3 wins get him back there. And I don't think Alex Pereira is gonna be there when Ankalaev does this turnaround. Because win or lose, I think this is the last fight for Alex Pereira at light heavyweight. I think he's gonna move up to heavyweight, win or lose. If he wins, he's gonna move up straight for a title fight. At least he's gonna try that. But if he loses, he's moving up as well, like he did from when he lost to Adesanya and moved up to fight Blachowicz was his light heavyweight debut, and then went for the title. So I think he's gonna do the same. He's always posting, always giving those hints on social media, showing how big he is, how heavy he is, and I think he's gonna go for a third title. And seeing the heavyweight division, we're getting more clarity now. We're gonna talk about it later, but if Alex Pereira goes to heavyweight, he's maybe a win away for a title shot, if not straight fighting for the title. So win or lose, I think this is last fight at light heavyweight.
You probably could have got the fight anyways against Aspinall if you truly wanted it. But
Yeah.
AK, that is not the direction Pereira is gone. He's going back to rematch one of your favorite fights of all time. So what is at stake for these two gentlemen outside of that gold shiny belt?
If Ankalaev gets past Pereira again, he could go on a pretty long run at light heavyweight. I know that's not what a lot of fans want to hear. It's certainly not what Dana White wants to hear. He's only 33, which in the current state of the light heavyweight division is like 28. He's essentially in the prime of his career at light heavyweight. It is not a strong division right now. Like, picture a scenario where he beats Pereira. He goes on to beat Jiri or Khalil in his next title defense. And then say there's a Carlos Ulberg in there. Let's say there's a Mike, we all want this, Dominic Reyes title defense. Unless Ankalaev also falls into this trap of, I really want to become a 2-division champion, which is entirely possible. I could see him getting like 2 title defenses and then saying, I'm going up to heavyweight now, which would... no, again, no one would care. That I'm picturing like writing the headline for MMAfighting.com right now and just the traffic just plummeting.
It's just the end of the UFC.
God. But if he
Imagine
stays at
Ankalaev, 2-division champion.
there's like a very realistic scenario where he stays at 205 for another 2 years and rattles off like 5 or 6 straight title defenses. And like, imagine that. And we'll have to begrudgingly acknowledge him as one of like the 4 greatest light heavyweights of all time. I know people won't do it, and I'll be like, no, I refuse. Like, we're keeping him behind Chuck and Tito and John Jones, and I got like we'll find Shogun Rua. We'll find names to put above Magomed Ankalaev. But statistically, people will say like, oh no, well, he's got more title defenses than a Shogun Rua. He's got more title defenses than a Machida, than a Rampage Jackson. Like, it sounds horrible saying it. I can't imagine anyone who's been a fan of MMA like since the 2000s ever putting Ankalaev above names like that, Rampage and Shogun. But if he gets 5 or 6 straight title defenses, it's possible. And it starts at 320. Like, he really has to... I really feel like Pineda is one of his biggest challenges. Maybe I'm disrespecting Ulberg.
You're depressing me, AK.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to everyone watching right now. Maybe the Dominic Reyes magical run ends with him beating Ankalaev. Like, how great would that be? But I don't think most people are betting on this. We got Mirzakhanov coming up as well. Maybe Mirzakhanov is the one who will save us. I don't know. But you guys all know I'm right. Like, he could, if he stays focused on the division, 2 title defenses a year, we could be talking about him 5 or 6 straight light heavyweight title defenses, which is very uncommon in this division. It's just, I think it's John Jones and Chuck. Maybe Tito also had 5. I don't remember. So you'd have to put Ankalaev among that list, and that sounds bizarre, but that is what is at stake.
AK Merab Dvalishvili has been saying, hey, I want to be active as possible. I want to fight 4 times this year. And he's on his way. This will be his 3rd title defense in 2025. It would be his 4th title fight in 13 months. And at bantamweight, which is absolutely insane. This man is just doing it. And on the other hand, there's Cory Sandhagen, who is just so damn good. But he's been the best man and not the groom. Always the bridesmaid, but never the bride. What does this fight mean for both guys? And what if Cory Sandhagen does what a lot of people think he can't do? I mean, you saw his skit he just put out today. Merab is just really good. There's no disrespect to Cory Sandhagen, but what if Sandhagen goes out there and beats Merab on October 4th, AK? What does that mean for 135?
I mean, be freaking great for my fantasy team. I used a late pick on Cory. I took a flyer on Cory, man. I mean, I needed some for my 135 spot, and I said, screw it. This one guy who I'm pretty sure is going to have a title fight coming up. And now it's official. Now we have it. Well deserved, as I said earlier. Like, I think we know how good Merab is. We know how Merab fights. We know how he wins. We know how he wins fights. And he could totally do to Cory what he's done to so many others. But there is something about Cory's style, which I think is intriguing, right? I think people know him. Of the people that have sort of had to go up against Merab, I think people would view Cory as maybe the biggest risk taker, as sort of the most aggressive, as a guy who always goes for the finish. I know that's a cliche. I know every fighter says that. I think Cory Sandhagen actually is that guy. How effective will that be against Merab, especially once we get to the 3rd and 4th rounds? I don't know. But he could be the one to just totally wear Cory down and beat him that way. But I'm excited for it, man. And I think there's a great storyline here. again, not to keep bringing it back to 318, but I guess we're still kind of high off it. Like, these storylines are what make us really tune in and really lock in on these fights. And there is something here with Cory. I think him being an underdog is so compelling. I think him having taken so long to finally get that title shot, while obviously not ideal for him, just makes it that much more meaningful when we finally see him standing across the cage from Rob. Fingers crossed. Let's hope that nothing happens to either guy. Now, should he win, would Merab get an immediate rematch? I think he would. Yes, I think they have enough. Even though I know Merab is not the most popular champion, I think he's certainly done enough. Long losing streak, multiple title defenses. I think you have to give him the rematch. Would he still stand by his word of wanting to like fight as often as possible and fight however 2 more times this year? I think he would want to. I want to believe Merab's team will kind of tell him, we need to take a step back. Like, the only reason you lost, or like I don't know if this is true, but you tell him the only reason you lost is you've overworked yourself. Let's wait till 2026. Let's look for January, February, March. Let's headline one of those cards with you going back after Cory. So I do think it would disrupt Merab's plans to stay as active as he wants to be. But I could be wrong. So definitely meaningful stakes for both fighters beyond just, of course, Cory finishing the story, as it were.
We have this conversation a lot, Guy, about fighters, especially champions, who just fight so often. And perhaps it affected a guy like Israel Adesanya, who was fighting so often, and Alexander Volkanovski eventually because he was fighting so often. Does this same sort of thing count for a guy like Merab, who is not a human being in a lot of respects? And then your thoughts on this fight with Sandhagen, because I love this fight so much, and I think if there's anybody in this division who can beat Merab right now, and I'm not picking Cory to win, but I think Cory might have the best chance to do it. Uh-oh.
Guy,
You're muted.
Sorry.
You better drop the promo of the century now if you want this point.
My neighbor's dog started barking, so I muted it. Forgot. Sorry, AK. We also have problems here. So as I was saying, and no one was listening, Merab's not human, so that doesn't apply to him. When Alex Pereira fights every 2 weeks, basically, I mean, his fighting style and his division, getting tagged like that, it pays a price. Merab is not human, and his cardio, like it really looks like he could fight every month if he wants to. And I think this fight, the most interesting aspect for me in this fight is Cory is a great fighter. It's a great challenger, way better than Sean O'Malley. He should have been him against Merab instead of Sean O'Malley, but business. But this fight is about solidifying Merab as the bantamweight GOAT. If you don't see him already in that position, I mean, this win could get him that, because he's basically cleaned the division already. This is a great challenger for him. After him, who's next? I don't think he's gonna fight again this year because you don't have anyone there, and that's okay. This clear-cut contender who to challenge for the bantamweight title. There's no one right now. So this fight is gonna put him in that position, that conversation, even strongly than already as the bantamweight GOAT. And let him just enjoy his time off. I'm sure he's gonna do a lot of stupid shit on social media, but let him just enjoy it. But again, that's not an easy win for him. GOAT is a tricky opponent, but my early prediction is Merab is gonna just control him and dominate him for 5 rounds to win a decision. But it's a really intriguing matchup.
Definitely is. Looking forward to this fight. That's one pay-per-view in October, and then 3 weeks later, we're getting another one. And we'll talk about the main event for that fight in a matter of seconds. But the point for round 2 goes to AK. 1-1. Nicely done.
Boo! Boo!
Always
You're muted,
on
Key.
mute.
You're muted, Key. What was that? You're muted, Key. What was that?
Well, Guy, let's see if you can get a little bit of a head start here, because Dana White also announced the main event for UFC 321, October 25th, Etihad Arena, Abu Dhabi. It is for the heavyweight championship of the world, no longer the interim heavyweight champion, but the true undisputed UFC heavyweight champ. Tommy Aspinall is back, his first fight in well over a year. We were wondering who he'd defend his title against. Would it be Alex Pereira? Would it be Derek Lewis? Would it be Ciryl Gane, coming off of a super controversial win in his most recent fight? They land on Ciryl Gane. You're shaking your head. And that leads me to my question, Guy. Did the UFC get this one correct? Is this the right fight for Tom Aspinall's return?
No. I'm just glad he's fighting. It's good to see Tom Aspinall back. If you put him against like a random people from the streets, like 5 in a row, it would be better than Ciryl Gane. Sorry, Ciryl Gane, and it's not an easy win. Doesn't mean like he's gonna just steamroll him. He's gonna be just destroy him. He could do that, of course, but I'm not expecting this to be an easy fight. And I'm not saying Ciryl Gane can't win this fight, but no one wants this fight. No one who doesn't say bonjour doesn't want this fight. It doesn't make any sense. When Ciryl Gane fought for the last time, he fought against Volkov, and when he won a decision. And when Volkov left the octagon, Dana White was pissed and saying he was going to make up for Volkov for getting robbed. And what did he do? He puts Volkov against Jair Almeida and gives Gane a title shot. That doesn't make any sense. It's insane. But yeah, I mean, at least he's fighting. But again, it's not the right fight. I just wish the UFC would give him Derek Lewis already. Fuck it. Just give him Volkov, Almeida, anyone but Gane. Sorry. It doesn't make any sense. I'm sure this Netflix show that Gane has been shooting the past like year or so, is gonna win a lot of awards. It's gonna be incredible. Like billions of people are gonna watch that and then decide to buy the pay-per-view to watch Ciryl Gane fight Tom Aspinall. That's the only explanation, because it makes no sense at all. This fight, and again, this fight in a vacuum is incredible. I want to watch this fight because the styles and as a matchup, it's fun. It's gonna be interesting. But again, it doesn't make any sense. Sorry.
AK, Guy loves this fight. Absolutely loves it. You could hear it in his voice. He's putting it over big time. Obviously, this is kind of the expected outcome. I fought for Derek Lewis. I thought that was just the more fun option. And I think it still is the more fun option. But, you know, Ciryl Gane has won an interim belt. He's fought for the belt. This will not be his third opportunity to become undisputed champion. Was this the right fight? Does it even matter? Because Tom's back.
Yeah, it's the right fight by default. I hate to say it, because I've certainly been pushing the Jaltin train for a while. I guess that loss to Curtis Blades is being held against him, which understandably so. I could see people seeing that Curtis Blades fight and being like, yeah, Jaltin's not ready yet, man. I can't imagine why people watched the Gane Volkov fight and said Gane is the guy, but it is a W. It is W against a guy who was on a win streak. Let's not forget that. I know Gane's not like a big hot streak himself, but he stopped a win streak, which, you know, there's just some sort of transitive property there. At least that's how I guess the UFC would frame it, right? And if you're trying to justify this fight to yourself as a fan, maybe that's like the most palatable way to look at it. So it is just the numbers game, guys. We keep saying the UFC does not build events around fighters. They build events around their schedule and around what locations they have booked. So Aspinall has been more than ready to fight. You have to get him in there. I don't know how much longer they could have waited. There would have just been, the presumably Madison Square Garden card in November, and then their year-end card in December. That's it. Those were their only options. And if you're Aspinall, you're sitting around doing nothing. Clearly ready to fight now. Ciryl Gane, obviously not going to say no to a title shot. And there is some heat there, not like a lot of trash talk, but a lot of back and forth call outs. One guy saying, well, I wanted the fight with him then, now he doesn't want it. And then when the other guy was like a higher position saying, well, oh, wow. So, well, now he doesn't want the fight, blah, 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 blah. So there's some element of that. It's not like the most chart busting dialogue, but it's there. It exists. Most importantly, we just want to get Big Tom back in there. I think, again, heavyweight sucks. But he's a strong A side, or I believe he can be a strong A side. Can he be a huge, crossover star? I don't know. And I don't think that really matters for the UFC right now. I think you want to have your best, most exciting fighters getting in there as often as they can and strutting their stuff. And Tom is a really exciting fighter, guys. Like, I think what's lost in all this talk, the stupid talk with him and John Jones, like, oh, who's really the best? Who's really the best? Like, Tom just super fun to watch when he gets in there. He's a fast finisher. He's everything the UFC looks for. And a heavyweight outside of, again, maybe being a better soundbite. I don't know, though. I think he's a really compelling interview, I guess, but he doesn't have like very famous quotes. There you go. Doesn't have memes. Okay, fine, whatever. But he's a strong A side, so you got to give him bodies. In this case, Gane is the body. Could have been Shelton Almeida. It would have been weird if they picked Volkov, but you could have done that too. It wouldn't have mattered. Run it back, I guess. Unanswered question from their first fight, I guess. Pavlovich, another rematch. Curtis Blades, trilogy bout. It just wasn't a lot of fresh options. So they went with a guy that he hasn't fought before, who, again, they've been talking about fighting each other for a while, Ciryl Gane. So I agree with Guy. There's certainly other names I would have wanted to see in there. But does it make sense? I think by the textbook definition of booking a fight for Tom Aspinall right now, yeah, it makes perfect sense.
I did like Tom's reaction to it, just kind of laying out the times where they could have booked this fight, and Ciryl said no for a variety of different reasons, at least from his perspective. And I just loved the end of the promo on Instagram. He's like, this is the third time he's fighting for a belt. I'm going to get rid of this guy from the title picture forever. And I was like, that's just damn cold, man. So could get pretty heated up to Abu Dhabi. Hopefully there's a very compelling supporting cast. Yes, we have Jailton Almeida versus Alexander Volkov. Perhaps, October's a long way away. I don't want to jinx anything, but something happens with Ciryl. Maybe the Black Beast does get a phone call. Maybe he's the backup fighter. Who the hell knows? But that's UFC 321. Obviously, we shall see where it goes from here. But we're at Abu Dhabi now. The UFC is in Abu Dhabi right now for a fight night card. Early day MMA. We're going to talk quickly about UFC Abu Dhabi. The point for round 3 goes to Guilherme Cruz. TBB. Let the confetti fly.
Yes.
All right, AK.
All the hate was worth it.
Yes, absolutely. AK, UFC Abu Dhabi this Saturday, noon Eastern prelims, 3 p.m. Eastern main card, headlined by a big one at 185 pounds, the former UFC middleweight champion Robert Whittaker taking on the former one championship champ, RDR, as Jed likes to call him, Reinier de Ridder, or in reality, Reinier de Ridder. RDR has been just been super fun, AK. It's been very, very fun since coming over to the UFC, and now he gets this big opportunity. And then we have the rest of the card. We did lose a huge fight between Movsar Evloev and Aaron Pico, but still, I think this is going to be a fun day of fights. How are we liking UFC Abu Dhabi, AK, top to bottom?
Banger, man, banger. This is how you put together a fight night card. I mean, this is the definition of like, and one that we have said already is kind of top to bottom a little bit stronger than 318, a little bit stronger than the card we just saw, at least on paper. I'm not saying it'll turn out to have better fights, because again, we have got at least a couple of great fights, 2 great fights and 1 really good fight, that one fight of the night at 318. I can't promise that's what we'll have here in Abu Dhabi. Like, frankly, on paper, there are a couple of clunkers, like as far as like how the action will play out. But I do think most of the matchups make sense ranking wise from a competition standpoint. There are a couple of squash matches, which I think is always good to have. I always feel cards should have that. We've got Shara and Marc-Andre Barriault, which I don't want to count out Power Bar, but he's in there for a reason, probably to get KO'd by Shara. Asu Amabayev, who was supposed to fight Tamarov, which would have been a very, very competitive fight, now gets Jose Ochoa, who is a good fighter, is doing well. there's upset potential there, but Ankalaev has to have a bounce back performance here, and I think he'll look good against Ochoa. But yeah, the top two fights are great. Robert Whittaker and RDR. I think when they brought de Ridder over, he has a ton of credibility from his time in 2 division champion. I don't know if they had signed him thinking, oh, this guy will be like on the short list for a title shot within like 9 months. I don't know if that was their plan, but it has certainly worked out that way, and he's been very exciting. I know he took out their boy Bo Nickel, someone they wanted to push a lot, but again, that was almost like a no lose situation. Now you have a guy who is suddenly headlining a show for you, and he beats Robert Whittaker. Whoa, you've got a middleweight title challenger. So this company is always falling upwards, and I think they've done a great job matchmaking for RDR so far. Again, whether they intend to push him or whether they intended to use him, like as a stepping stone for Bo in that last fight, doesn't matter. Worked out great for them. And Robert Whittaker is such a beloved fighter. Speaking of title shots, we all kind of are holding out hope that he gets one more, because we still feel like he's at that level. He got run through by Khamzat. Khamzat's a force of nature. It happens. Other than that, you put Robert in there with any top 5 guy, you still feel like he's going to be competitive. That Khamzat fight was such an aberration. Dricus also did really good against him, but again, Dricus is the number 1 middleweight in the world, right? So no shame in that. So great stuff there. And what was I saying? Piotr Jan, Marcus McGee, beautiful stuff. Loving the Piotr Jan resurgence. Marcus McGee deserves a big fight. I know he's not a household name. I know most fans could not pick him out of a lineup. But I mean, you look at the work he's done since coming to the UFC. He's just winning fights, man. He's winning fights and he's beating good competition. I don't think he was expected to win his last fight and against Jonathan Martinez. And guess what? Took care of business, did the damn thing. Dark horse title challenger, man. If RDR is a dark horse title challenger, you better believe Marcus McGee is too. So great stuff on this card. Again, it looks like there's potential for finishes. We can have divisional movement. We have actual contender implications. I don't know. I don't know if Jed is going to do a Michelin star rating for this card because it's a fight night.
Yeah.
But this has to be like a 2-star at least. If you happen to be hanging around Abu Dhabi, I feel like you'd go out of your way to be at the show.
2 stars, huh? Okay.
Right? Isn't that what 2 stars means? If you're in
2 stars, 2 stars means you're driving a few hours to this card.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
1 star is like, hey, if you're in the area, you might as well go.
Jed's on vacation, so I stand by it. So I am co-opting his rating system for now, and I'm saying this is a 2-star Michelin rated restaurant / card.
I just looked this up, Guy, before we get your answer. 12 fights, which is just a magical number compared to 14 like we got last week. 6 of the 12 fights, Guy, feature a betting favorite of -340 or more, according to our friends at FanDuel. There's some big, hefty favorites on this fight card.
Just like the Nashville one.
Yeah. Piotr Jan -410, Shara Bullet -700. And then we get to the prelims, and it's just like, Buchech is -310, Stephen Wynn -370, even Ebo is -265, Damon Blackshear -340, Carlos Leal -520. There's so many huge favorites on this card, but we do have a very compelling main event. We have Bryce Mitchell dropping to 135. There's some very interesting storylines here. Are you as high as AK on this? This is a 2 Michelin star card for you?
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one, especially because it's in the afternoon. Oh God, it's way better. It's way better because here in Brazil I'm 2 hours ahead, and right now I'm 1 hour ahead of Eastern time. So it always sucks because the events in 2 or 3 in the morning. We have a kid at home. You're waking up at 6, so you're not sleeping. But yeah, in the afternoon it's perfect. And I'm really looking forward to a lot of fights in this card. Obviously, the main event. I'm really curious to see how Whittaker returns after getting his jaw destroyed. I think that's a huge aspect in this fight because if it goes to the grappling exchanges without your getting your jaw destroyed like that, could be a huge factor. Depending on which positions RDR gets him. So that's something to watch. And but yeah, there's a lot of interesting types of matchup in this fight. We have the debut of Marcus Buchecha finally coming to the UFC. I remember 10 years ago in UFC, I think it was in São Paulo, he was just hanging around there, saying that he was contemplating doing the transition from jiu-jitsu to MMA, and maybe one day fighting in the UFC. It took him a long time. He changed his mind a lot of times since then. But then he went to one championship. It didn't end well that for him for a lot of reasons. And now he's fighting in the UFC. Martin Buday is not an easy fight. He could easily go there and lose a split decision, and this fight sucks. But I have high hopes for Buchecha. The only time he lost was against heavyweight GOAT Hugh in one. So there's no diminishing that. Like Carlos Leal against Muslim Sadikov is gonna be insane. It's gonna be a fun fight. So there's a lot of things. There's a lot to watch on this card. But yeah, Buchecha's debut and Whittaker's return are on the top of the list for me. And McGee on this Joshua Van rise in the UFC. It's like the Joshua Van of the bantamweight division. It's incredible, and he could in a title shot this weekend. So it's there's a lot at stake in this event.
I mean, look, I love the putting over of Marcus McGee here. So he's got a tough task at hand here. Petr Yan a lot riding on this fight. He told me if he wins, he ain't fighting again unless it's for the belt. He wants the winner of Merab and Cory. He will wait as long as it takes to get that fight. So definitely some stakes there. I don't know if Marcus McGee will have the same sort of opportunities if he wins this fight.
And I don't think McGee's gonna win. I pick him Petr Yan. But and I think it's insane, the odds. The odds are insane. Like
it's minus,
the odds
yeah.
like
minus 410. Jan is the favorite.
It's insane. He's fighting Petr Yan. Yeah, come on. He could win, of course, but I mean that's a good chance to make some money there.
Yeah, Jan is a very good fighter, and looking forward to that. Bantamweight is a great division, and UFC Abu Dhabi will be fun. The point for round 4 goes to my best friend, Alexander Kaylee, 2-2. That means it's time for the knockout round. One question to decide it all. The peeps will be the decision makers. They will be the judge and the jury here. And AK, you get to decide here. Do you want to go first or do you want to go last? But before you make that decision, Guy, I have 2 questions here.
Yes.
One is behind door number 1. One is behind door number 2. So
Yes.
you pick which door we're going with, and then AK can decide if he's going first or last.
2.
Okay. AK, you want to go first or second? I'm not telling you what it is until it's time.
Do I want to go first or do I want to go first? Mike, obviously I'm going first. Let's do this.
Love it. By the way, door number 1 is PFL in a good place right now after PFL Africa, excuse me. But that's not where we're going, because a man that has been in the news and in many headlines this week is the brand new UFC lightweight champion, Ilia Topuria. He has had things to say about, just been talking a lot, whether it's on social media after Max Holloway beat Dustin Poirier, doing a several hour kick stream with the Nelk boys, talking about all sorts of different stuff. Even saying, AK, I will not fight Arman Tsarukyan. In fact, if they offer me Arman Tsarukyan, I would rather vacate the title than fight him. So lots of things that has been said from Ilia Topuria. So AK, Ilia Topuria has been champion for less than a month now. We're approaching 1 month since being champion. I want you to give a grade to Ilia Topuria's first few weeks as UFC lightweight champion. 1 minute on the clock. Go.
Man, I don't know if I can go higher than like a firm B, because love the dialogue, love how open he is. He was doing this before he won the title. I don't know how he does it. He's having like 5 press conferences a week. I know he has his own promotion and he talks at that like during that promotion as well. So I get it. We're getting a lot of Topuria. We're getting the full court press of Topuria. And in some ways, that's great. Like, I don't mind the quotes. I might not agree, but I like that. Oh, I don't trust that Ciryl going to show up, so I don't want to fight him. And Max Holloway's not the real BMF. And I don't know what he's had to say about Paddy recently. Maybe he's not even mentioning him. That's kind of a power move. But also, it's almost like overexposure, and he's kind of making himself a little bit unlikable. And we've seen some great champions become stars that way. I mean, Conor McGregor, as proper as he was, had so many detractors on his way up. And as we say in the fight business, that's what you want. People either loving or hating you. So I'm giving Topuria a firm B, because I still think there's a lot more people that love him. But he's got to be careful, because that could tilt towards hate and disinterest quickly, especially if he doesn't book his first title defense soon.
All right, Guy, let's talk about Ilia Topuria. He knocks out Charles Oliveira, wins the lightweight title that was vacated by Islam Makhachev. There's Paddy. There's Justin Gaethje. We thought Arman could potentially be in play at some point someday, but Ilia's like, nah, they offer him to me. I'll just be like, fuck it, take the belt. I don't want it. I'm not fighting this dude. So how do you grade Ilia Topuria's first 3.5 weeks or so as UFC lightweight champion? 1 minute on the clock. Go.
I think the big issue when you talk too much is when that you give her a chance to say a lot of stupid shit, like saying that Arman Tsarukyan doesn't deserve a title shot. It's, again, stupid. He's playing this character again and again and again, of trying to be like Conor with everything. Like, his fighting style perfect. If you fight like Conor, it's incredible. But this tattoos and all that, okay, questionable. But this, your interviews and our comments and all that, it's I think it's too early to go that deep in the Conor wannabe, like, because Conor was when he wasn't a champion anymore, he would go on social media and call out everyone that won on that particular week. Like, you win the UFC this weekend, Conor calls you out. So it's annoying. It makes me want to go back to times where internet wasn't a thing and social media was a thing. I love Ilia Topuria as a fighter, but man, he's becoming a lot of annoying.
There you have it. Ilia Topuria getting high grades, high marks from both panelists here for his first few weeks as UFC lightweight champion. We'll see who he fights. Is this good for Justin Gaethje, you think? All this chatter, you think this Ilia, it seems like Ilia would rather fight Gaethje than anybody else right now. Is this good for him? Does he have enough power to be like, nah, I ain't fighting Arman? And I don't think Arman gets the shot anyways. I would like to see him get the shot in a meritocratic world. He should get it, but the dude did pull out of a fight a day before a scheduled massive main event, the first pay-per-view of the year. And unless it's and look, Khabib has done the same thing, and Khabib had to go fight Edson Barboza before he got a chance to fight for the belt. I wonder if Arman should have just taken the Mateusz Gamrot rematch when apparently it was offered to him. Maybe just take it. I literally think he just needs to fight anybody and win, and he's getting a title fight. He's that close at this point, but he's going to have to fight again. So you think this helps Justin Gaethje at all?
I don't think so. With respect to Justin, I just think he's not in the equation right now. He's being very vocal. That's all you can do, other than booking a fight, which again he doesn't feel like he has to do to get a title shot. But like we said with Arman, Justin probably gonna have to fight again.
I gotta interrupt you. We got a winner.
Oh, that was quick.
All right,
a winner with 52% of the votes is.
Whoa.
The Brazilian Beast! God, you did it, Gwen! You did it! You did it! Yes. I didn't even have the music going. I saw it. The Brazilian Beast!
Yes. Take that again.
Oh, you jerk! Okay, for the record, look at the comments. When I announced the winner, it was 51% for Gui, and then AK's 2 friends voted after I announced the winner. So officially it says that AK won. But no, when I said it, Gui won at 51%. You're a loser, AK. You are a loser.
Oh my God. Wow. Guy, how are we feeling about this? The people's champ, Guy, Casey, stop the friggin' show.
Yes.
He stopped the show. Shut the hell up, everybody. Jeremy just won the game. How do we feel?
Yeah. It's incredible. It's incredible. I'm so happy. It's champions. Last year we won everything, and again we're July 24th. Yeah, another championship. We're going for more this year. Thank you very much, AK. I'm sorry. The true record, I think you didn't win a single round. I think Mike just felt sorry for you and gave you 2 rounds to make this more entertaining for the fans. Man, better luck next time. Oh, man. Now you're making me feel sad. Sorry, man.
AK, do you feel like
I
you just
still
got
love
Douglas,
you, but yeah.
Do you feel like you just got Douglas Crosby, AK?
He's the best. Glory to Botafogo. Who do they play? Corinthians this Saturday. Guy?
Yes.
Botafogo, Corinthians. I saw someone in the comments, by the way. Did you see that, Guy? Flamengo? We don't. Come on now. Banned them.
They gave us $5. Let it just.
Okay. Fair.
They bought me a coffee, so
Yes.
Shout out.
So you
Shout
can.
out.
Whatever.
AK, valiant effort. I thought you performed admirably. Guy, great job. Casey, hit the music. We're getting out of here. UFC Abu Dhabi, baby. Weigh-ins are going to happen like super early in the morning. We'll have a preview show sometime tomorrow. We haven't figured all that out yet. People's Free Fight Show, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. It warms my heart on Saturday. AK and I matchmaking on the Pod Network. On to the next one on Sunday. Should be a great weekend, everybody. For Guilherme, for AK, for Casey, on the 1 and 2. I am Mike Mack, back to react to it all. Good night, everybody.
This has been Between the Links, an MMA fighting production on the Vox Media Network.
Danny.